I've also been during live coding shows that someone is trying out something and you see a mistake that they're like totally missing out, because it's like quite intimidating when you're on stage. And then a person in the crowd sees what like goes wrong and can go up to you like, hey, you're missing a semicolon there. It's like you wrote that word wrong there.
Part of the manifesto is to kind of try to actually break the system, and if everything goes wrong, people will cheer and actually be celebrating that you broke it.
It's a very similar mindset of like, okay, I'm just going to see what happens, and you have to be ready for some discomfort, perhaps, or and find those moments where they really like something clicks for you.
Once you've put something in the code and you've hit compile, once you've done that, you got to forget what you just did, because your brain has already got to be on the next thing you're going to do.
In the Netherlands, we have the relative freedom, I guess. I mean, we're seeing the first hints of suppression in a weird way when we look at media, social media, or whatever.
Politics is part of life and it's part of art. So in one way or another, it is always there, no matter what the art form is. So I think it's relevant.
What's going on in the news, you feel really helpless and powerless. And there are big forces that are impossible to change, but there are all kinds of small things going on in your daily life around you that you can influence. It's literally impossible for me to change a politician's course of action, as much as I'd like to. But if I can convince 10 other people of something positive, I think I've accomplished something even bigger.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Far Out podcast. We have this amazing stage today here, a special edition because of the 80 years, what do you call it? The 80 years of freedom right here in Apeldoorn. The Canadians who helped us a lot getting there, and we are here to celebrate this freedom, and we have a few very special guests to discuss freedom. What does freedom mean to us as individuals, and especially because these guys are artists, each and every one of them. They are live coders, and today we're going to learn a lot, hopefully, because for your information, I am not a live coder, so this is going to be very interesting for me as well. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. Let's start doing a little round. Is Alex coming as well on the screen, or? Yeah. We have another guest. There he is. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Great to have you on board.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Small round of introduction. Sebastian, can we start with you?
Certainly. Well, my name is Sebastian Pappalardo, and the project, my live coding project, is eerieear. My background is a sound designer. I'm originally from Buenos Aires, from Argentina. Maybe I can talk a little bit later about the live coding scene over there, because we're going to be using some of that of software that they contributed. My background is in sound design for film, but I started doing generative AV quite some time ago, originally with Pure Data. Originally with Max, I guess, then Pure Data. Then I moved into live coding later. And I fell in love with a particular environment called tidal cycles. I still use it a lot, but today I'm going to try something new and use a kind of a variation of tidal cycles called Strudel. But yeah.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's move on to Alex, you're next in line.
Sure thing. Hello, everyone. I am Alex MacLean. I am not Alex MacLean, the inventor of tidal cycles, though it's often brought up that it's so odd to have the same name. But I kind of joined into the scenes somewhere back around 2017. I moved to Hamilton, Ontario, and I joined the laptop orchestra called the Cybernetic Orchestra with David Ogborn, and that was my introduction to live coding, as well as the beginning of my journey to finding my path as a new media artist and experimental electronic musician. since starting with live coding and working with tidal cycles and learning Punctual and working with helping to develop Estuary while I was studying at McMaster University, I've now found my way into Eurorack modular and other groove boxes and still tying connections to live coding. So it's really exciting to be here today and share a bit of that with you all. So I'm a new media artist, musician, and software developer based in London, Ontario here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Next up.
My name is Wilbert Vogel. My artist or my live coding name is Lil Bleep. And I studied fine art in Den Bosch at the St. Joe's Academy. And for some reason, I ended up as a live coder, and now I'm making music with programs. And yeah, that's what I do.
Right. Awesome. Yes.
Hey, I'm Marcel Wierckx. I have a background in music composition and performance. Did a lot of live music back when I was a young man in Canada, but now I'm based in Holland. I was at a live coding performance it was 2005 or 2006 in New Orleans, and it was a competition presented like a wrestling match between Ge Wang and Nick Collins, who are two of the people who laid the foundation of what we consider live coding today. And I fell in love with the form. I thought that was the most amazing way to perform electronic music. Shortly after that, they came out with their manifesto, and I started organizing these same kind of live coding competitions in Utrecht around 2006. That went on for quite a while. And I kind of got out of live coding sometime around 2016, 2017, and I was really happy to get invited to do this, to do something that I haven't done in a while.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, everyone. I think maybe it's a good idea for me as well, for the people here in the audience. Could someone please just start off with live coding, the basics? What is it? How could you define it when you talk to someone who is maybe not into an instrument or not musical at all? Where would you start?
For sure. I can take a crack at that. I would say live coding is a way of creating art and different kinds of art. Music and visuals are two prominent ones, where you're writing with a programming language, like any other programming language, but in these cases, it's really working in real time, and the changes are almost instant as you type and get the feedback of what's happening. You are able to improvise and build patches and visuals, rather than waiting for anything to compile or having to send off this code and then get back the results later. You're choosing notes and adding sound effects and making chords and making beats, all with the text that you type into an editor. And it's a lot about exploring, what if I do this? How does it sound if I make these changes, rather than walking into it with a composition in mind. It's a lot about that exploration and discovery.
One of the things I like that's implied in what you're saying is that things can go wrong. And, these DJs and techno DJs and stuff like that, their equipment is all built to be super, super reliable, and they know exactly what's going to go on. But you go to a live coding performance, and the idea is these guys are flying by the seat of their pants, and things can go wrong, and that's part of the gig.
There is no sync button.
Yeah, exactly.
And you mentioned the manifesto earlier, and part of the manifesto is to kind of try to actually break the system. And it's one of the, I think, very particular art forms where if everything goes wrong, people will cheer and actually be celebrating that you broke it. So it can be volatile. But going back to your question about like how cryptic it is to read it, it's actually also part of the idea behind live coding is to kind of make coding less esoteric and less cryptic. So that's why also sharing the screens is important. And maybe when you see it for the first time, it feels very cryptic. But when when you see different people performing with different environments, and you spend a few minutes looking at what they're doing. Hopefully, I think part of the idea is that you start to understand, at least intuitively, what's going on, and you start to see, okay, this says notes, and these notes are a sequence, and this is happening in patterns in general. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because I guess a big part of the performance is also just lay it, bare and open for all to see. There's the big screen, literally just showing all of the audience what you're literally doing. Isn't that can it be how do you call it?
Intimidating?
More exciting or exhilarating? It's like someone is literally watching. Are you doing it right? And it's very open. It's like you're very naked up there, I guess.
Vulnerable, yeah.
You're
Vulnerable,
also
yes,
like
that's the term. Yeah.
For me, at least, it was very intimidating the first time I was sharing my desktop, I must say.
See, ironically, though, this is what any music performance is. You go see an improvising jazz band, they're also flying by the seat of their pants. Things can also go wrong. Thelonious Monk said, if you play a wrong note, play it again, and it's not a wrong note anymore, right? And it's that same mentality, I think, with live coding that we should be embracing as live coders.
Yeah.
But it's also the fun part is I've also been during live coding shows that someone is trying out something and you see a mistake that they're like totally missing out, because it's like quite intimidating when you're on stage. And then a person in the crowd sees what like goes wrong and can go up to you like, hey, you're missing a semicolon there. It's like you wrote that word wrong there. And then it's like, it's also the crowd can help you out if you're like in need.
Yeah,
so I think that's also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. And it's perhaps maybe a very basic question, but do you need to like have a feeling for rhythm to start coding, or can you just like whenever you're programming or you're taking MIDI files and just putting them into place, you don't need to have any form of feeling for timing or whatever? How is that for coding?
I think you need to have a feeling for logic more than rhythm or anything like that. The clock on the computer's taking care of the rhythm for you, and but when you're staring at a piece of code that should be making sound and it's not, then any musical feeling you have is not going to help you at that moment. But understanding logic and basic programming concepts, that's what gets you through that moment.
Yeah, so basically debugging all the time.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's nice for me. I'm not really too good with logic.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like Mercury, because it doesn't it's quite a direct language.
Yeah.
And that's also what I like about Orca, because it destroys logic.
All
I
right.
think there's this kind of a lot.
I think I'm speaking from the ghosts of the past. I think maybe contemporary programming environments for live coding are a little bit more forgiving than what I'm used to.
I think they're quite forgiving. And I mean, also it's a kind of a trial and error. So you also learn the mistakes that you're probably making. Mm. So it's also like bang your head against the wall a million times and then something will happen.
And do you guys think, I know that some of you also play a musical instrument besides the coding. How would you relate to those two? I mean, how does it feel to start playing guitar? It's like really fucking hard. You have to put all the fingers in the right position to play the most basic of chords. How would you compare such a struggle to coding? Maybe Alex, could you tell something about that?
Yeah, I think if it always helps if you've come to it with some sort of musical ear, right? However you've developed that with any sort of musical background, that's a big advantage. That's some people come from a music background without any experience software developing. Some people come from software development background, coding without much musical experience. So it's common that you're always lacking like one of those sides. But it's when you're thinking about creating something with live coding, you're still thinking about those common elements, right? Like the drums, the bass, the guitar, the melody, chords. So if you had some training in whether it's guitar or drums, like you may be more focused on that element. You may start from that aspect of things first, or prioritize that over other things as you start to type. That's a possibility, or it's just you switch over to live coding, you start to explore it, and something it just opens up a new part of your mind that you've never really explored as a guitar player, for this example. So it's always exciting to see what happens when someone with a background in music starts to give this a try.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm feeling a nice little bridge over to the maybe a small clip we have from this guy called Timo Hoogland.
It's not only Timo, it's also Lina in the clip.
Oh, sorry.
As I forgot her last name. It's a duo. They're called Damage as such.
Awesome.
So they're also live coding together, which is like, I think even cooler because they're changing the same program at the same time, and they're so in line in what they're doing that I hear this and I'm like, how? Also, it's cool because Timo does have the coding background, and I believe Lina is more of a synth freak.
Right. I guess that's for the audience as well, for me as well, very interesting to really see how this comes together. It's such a weird thing when you're not into coding to just really watch it unfold. I mean, you literally are seeing what he's typing and what will be the next step, and then you see him typing something as a chorus 0.5, and you're guessing, all right, something with perhaps a chorus effect or whatever. It's really interesting to notice as an audience, what's going through your head? Like, no, let's try this, like, let's try that. It sounds like you have a lot of creative freedom to really produce whatever you're feeling at the moment. It's very intuitive, I guess, if I can call it that.
You know, you asked a minute ago about, you know, if you're a guitar player, what's it feel like to play, and how is this different? And I think I can think of a million ways that it's different, but only one way in which it's similar, and that is if you're thinking about time and you're playing an instrument, if you're thinking about right now, you're going to make a mistake, because by the time you're playing what you're thinking of, your body's too late to fix anything. So you're always thinking ahead, and it's exactly the same here. Once you've put something in the code and you've hit compile or whatever, executed the chord or whatever command it is, once you've done that, you got to forget what you just did, because your brain has already got to be on the next thing you're going to do. And that's what you're seeing in these performances. And it's kind of the excitement that I was talking about. Seeing something going on and you know what the coder is thinking. You can see the cognitive process. You can see the gears turning before you hear the music. I think that's the coolest part of live coding to me.
Yeah, sometimes I do listen to some other electronic music and I'm like, oh, this is quite a cool effect, or the rhythmic section is quite intense. Like, how would this translate to code? That's
yeah, no, that's interesting. I've never thought in those terms, but I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, if I see, like, here's some very nice jazz music, like, is there a way to implement this break? Is there a way to sample this? Is there a way to reproduce this? That's for me.
Well, in the case of like an improvised jazz performance in live coding, I think a lot of how I would approach that would be pretty similar, with open mind, and as in terms of experimental music, right? You're maybe not looking to interpret something that you're familiar with, but you're like watching it unfold, and it's unpredictable of what's going to happen next. So I think there's a lot that's similar there, especially with that case. But yeah, definitely it's a different experience going to see music performed that you're familiar with. But I think any sort of improvised performance, and especially more on the experimental side, where its genre is sort of falls away, like it's a very similar mindset of like, okay, I'm just going to see what happens, and you have to be ready for some discomfort, perhaps, or and find those moments where they really like something clicks for you, and walk away asking why or how did they do that.
And could you maybe also elaborate on what Timo has done with the drum kit in conjunction with coding? Could you explain something about what did he make?
Like, the project is called Drum Code, right?
Yeah, Drum Code. And to be honest, I've seen the videos. I haven't spoken with him. I don't know exactly what's going on with that project, but I think he's using sensory percussion, right, for drum triggers?
I'm
You don't know
assuming
anything?
it.
Yeah.
I've only seen the videos, but it's
Yeah.
like magic. He's like drumming, and then there's me.
Yeah, so
Stuff
he's
being
writing
triggered.
code, and that code is going to react to his playing. So, and this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about that I think is really interesting, that hasn't been explored deeply enough yet.
I don't know who did it, but there's also this project called Code Clavier.
Yeah, Felipe and this is embarrassing. I lost her name. Two friends from Amsterdam.
And Weinberg?
Yes, and
Yes.
Weinberg. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's a really cool artists, both of them, and she can actually, while playing the keys on the piano, she can actually also modify, trigger and modify functions on a computer. So she's effectively coding with the piano keys. It's really, really exciting project, yeah.
But didn't you also have a project with the cello?
I have two, actually. Projects
God.
with analog
we're
music.
talking about music.
Yeah, one of them with Rafael Andrade. She has a really exciting cello with a microcontroller project. And we played quite a bit in the past. We did a very small tour of the UK. And a bit more recently, a couple of years ago, we had another performance with a cello, and I was live coding. using MIDI and other stuff. But also I had another project with a trio with a traverso flute, a baroque instrument, and a singer. And I was live coding, and that was quite challenging and really interesting, the combination of the three of us. And it really goes to improvised music. You have to kind of feel each other and feel the silences and kind of set. In my case, I was setting some tools that will allow me some flexibility to respond to them, and try to create materials that would kind of work with. We were always had this kind of acousmatic mindset where we were trying to hide who's doing what. That the flute maybe sounded like a voice, and then the computer sounded like the flute or the voice. And that was a little bit the idea, to be a little bit playful and to hide from the audience who's doing what, and trying to listen to each other and respond. It was a very nice challenge, and beautiful project.
Yeah, it sounds very, very awesome. Great. And Alex, do you have like? I saw some videos of you playing guitar as well over, I think, certain productions of yourself. How do you approach the? What do you do? For instance, live coding with a guitar next to you or on your chest?
I have in the past. It's not like a regular part of my practice, and I've also experimented with vocals and live coding. So and today I'm doing Eurorack modular and live coding. So it's always every performance opportunity is a new chance to try something different. For me, I don't have anything that I default to all the time. It's kind of wherever the inspiration is. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, awesome, great. I think it's time for a little less subtle of a bridge to the next fragment, I guess. We're also discussing other lyrics and other instruments or whatever. We have a little clip from MacLean we wanted to show all of you, and after that we're going to talk a little bit more about freedom, because that is also why we are here. Freedom in creativity and also freedom in the world, of course. So let's watch this.
Yeah. The people, they won't leave. What is threatening about divesting and want a piece? The problem isn't the protests, it's what they're protesting. It goes against what our country is funding. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. When I was 7, I learned a lesson from Cuban Eazy-E. What was it again? Oh yeah, fuck the police. Actors and badges protecting property in a system that was designed by white supremacy. But the people are in the streets. You can pay off Meta, you can't pay off me. Politicians who serve by any means. APAC, Kofi, and all the companies. You see, we sell fear around the land of the free. But this generation here is about to cut the strings. You can ban TikTok, take us out the algorithm, but it's too late. We've seen the truth, we bear witness. Seen the rubble, the buildings, the mothers and the children, and all the men that you murdered. And then we see how you spin it. Who gets the right to defend and who gets the right of resistance? It's always been about dollars and the color of your pigment. But white supremacy is finally on blast, screaming free Palestine to their home at last. We see the lies and claiming it's anti-Semitic to be anti-Zionist. I seen Jewish brothers and sisters out there.
As we were watching this, I was wondering, there's a lot of shit going on in the world, obviously, and most of the times, I guess that goes for every musician all around the world. It is also inspiration to get your blood pumping and really create something. How does that work for you, for instance, Sebastian? Is like the state of the world and the problems we are having, how does it show off in your creativity or your flow? So
sometimes I certainly do follow events quite closely, maybe too closely for mental health sometimes. I recently joined a group called Coders for Palestine, so I hope that something can come out of this. So if anyone is interested, maybe get in touch. I'm not coordinating or organizing the group, but I only joined one meeting. But I hope this could help the suffering. And ethnic cleansing is never fun. But politics is part of life and it's part of art. So in one way or another, it is always there, no matter what the art form is. So I think it's relevant, and yeah.
I think here in the Netherlands, we have the relative freedom, I guess. I mean, we're seeing the first hints of suppression in a weird way when we look at media, social media, or whatever. How is it in Canada? Is it any different? I mean, you're like just north of a pile of shit, I guess, at the moment, if I can state it like that.
Yeah, that's a big topic right now, of course, where everyone's trying to decide how to deal with it. I think in our own ways, whether that's supporting more local businesses and not traveling into the U.S., changing, making more, focusing more on other connections, both within the country and with other countries in the world. It's a huge thing right now, and I think art is a way that some people will grapple with it and express their feelings. I think it's an amazing outlet when you really feel like that's necessary, and you as a person connect with something deeply. And I also echo the sentiment that it doesn't always have to be so pointed, and art for art's sake is wonderful as well. And let the theme emerge, and see if you leave it more open-ended, what others may connect to your piece, and you leave it open to people interpreting it in different ways, and not specifically about that thing you really tried hard to make it about. So I see the benefits, and I love both, and I've done both, certain different ways of creating things.
When I think about making music, just letting something flow and really creating, it's maybe one of the best feelings in the world, really knowing you're in the zone. But if we're talking about freedom of creating, how would you guys describe freedom in live coding?
I mean, one thing to add a little bit to what Alex was saying is elbows up, right, Alex? That's the Canadian way to handle the States. Yeah, there's a whole story behind that. Alex will know what I'm talking about. But so I work a lot with a jazz band called Tin Men and the Telephone, and we've always been very political, activistic. It's gotten us in trouble sometimes, not serious trouble, but moments where we thought, okay, maybe we won't travel to Turkey this year because of a piece we did about Erdogan. What we're always afraid of in the sense of freedom is self-censorship, of thinking, okay, are we going to offend somebody with this? Are we going to upset somebody with this? And then you start second guessing. And I think that's really killing for making activistic music or activistic art, is you really have to speak your mind. But on the other side of that, there are ways of being activistic without being political. A few years ago, I went to Lebanon to give coding lessons to Syrian refugees, and there was nothing political about that trip at all. It was an opportunity to go spread the love, right? Spread my love of coding to people who might not have the opportunity to get such a learning experience. And I think there are moments like that you can do without having to be blatantly political, that you can still help the world.
Yeah, just being human and caring for each other. Is that what I get out of this?
Of course, resistance is important, but what I find is creative and profound resistance works way better than a middle finger. So helping the people that need help instead of just being angry at the people that are causing the problems.
Yeah, sounds more productive, I guess.
I don't know if I'd want to frame it that way, but it's more, when you see what's going on in the news, you feel really helpless and powerless. And there are big forces that are impossible to change, but there are all kinds of small things going on in your daily life around you that you can influence. And if you put your energy into those things, also with my art, with the music we make, with the coding I do, it's really great to have this feeling that you made a difference in somebody's life. And it's really agonizing to know that it's literally impossible for me to change a politician's course of action as much as I'd like to. But if I can convince 10 other people of something positive, I think I've accomplished something even bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really, really good. Yeah, I like that. Perhaps this is also, I'm looking at the time, we should start rounding up, I guess. So maybe it's a invitation to you guys, each let's start with you, Sebastian. You have one last thing to tell people, perhaps where can they find your work, or how can they follow what you're making?
Sure, thank you. And the project is called eerieear, like a strange ear. So if you Google eerieear, hopefully the corporation will put me up in the search. And otherwise, you can look me up on social media, and Instagram and YouTube. We also do in Rotterdam. We have like monthly live coding meetups for community building, and we try to stream them every month. It's usually in the beginning of the month, the first 2 weeks of the month. So if you reach out to me, I'll gladly share the timeline for what's coming up, and you can always find the repository of the previous streams on my YouTube channel. That's the same handle, eerieear. So that's one way to look me up. And please reach out to anyone who's interested, either in what I'm doing or in live coding. I'll be happy to redirect to the larger community. There are like so many interesting things to explore.
Great. All right. Thank you, Alex. Could you have some final last words for today?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me, and it was a wonderful message I found in Instagram to come online and talk about live coding. So that's been great. You can find me online looking up my name, Alex MacLean, with that A, or as Sunntack. It's Suntack. Both will lead you to what I'm up to, my site and my Instagram and other things like that. So it's hope to keep in touch and see some of you online in those communities that we talked about. Thanks.
Right. Yes, thank you. Wilbert?
You can find me online on my normal name. That's Wilbert Vogel. So WertVogel. Spelling out in English is weird. There's some stuff online under my artist name that's Lil Bleep. I have an Instagram. You can find me on my normal name. I have a very weird ad that I'm not going to try to spell out now. The Instagram name is Jensbeer21. Try to find it. Yeah.
Can you spell it out?
DGENSBEER21.
Check. You got that? It's good. Great. All right. Marcel?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about having a hard-to-spell name is that there are very few of us in the world, and the only other Marcel Wierckx I know of is a cruise ship director. So if you find him, then that might be more up your alley. But if you find me, I'm on Low North is my internet name. Yeah, I mean, it's super cool to do a live coding set here. I haven't done something like this in quite a long time. And so I'm kind of looking forward to getting some sounds out.
Awesome. All right, I want to thank you all for coming up here today. Alex all the way from Canada. We have some people, some organizations to thank. So first of all, Podium Gigant, of course, which is the place we're sitting right here, for all the tools and equipment they put into work to make this work. Gemeente Apeldoorn, Stichting Frequency. These guys are organizing the podcast as well. We have Mojo Dojo, which is, I guess, the media firm from Sonner, I think. And we have V-Fonds as well. So thank you all for making this happen. Well, I guess that's it. I think it's time to raise our glasses to 80 years of freedom. And I want to thank you all for coming, showing up. And for now, we have a very special guest as well. Someone who's an artist, a songwriter, a producer, and also very much into spoken word. He will do a short, what do you call it? A spoken word piece about freedom and what it means. I want to introduce you guys to Voces.
They say, speak your truth. But what if your truth is broken before it reaches words? What if your breath's already stolen way before it's even heard? Freedom. What is our freedom really worth when it means hurting someone else? What if the walls we broke down slowly were protecting someone else? Freedom isn't free. There has always been a price. Some will take the gamble and play with loaded die. If it's the means, the politics, or even still ethnicity, too often freedom's gate is locked by pure complicity. While the ones who hold the key will still claim its liberty. Is it really worth to change the way that yours is supposed to be? Is this freedom ours? I've seen fists tattooed with freedom used to beat down feels and dreams, changing ideals to submission, just a fracture at the seams. We can see it in our clothes, in the pride that we all wear. It leaves traces everywhere, but maybe let's start here. We are one, united, surrounded by a language that doesn't live by words, one we all can feel and share, and together we can learn. A pulse that transcends voice, that brings light onto the silence, a wave that asks for change. It demands rise, no more compliance. Thank you.